Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Silent Trailers production meeting. It's this Saturday, the greatest game show ever made. What am I talking about? Take a look. KeithandtheGirl.com/tickets. If you're a VIP member, well, there's a discount on everything. Also, you get every show we've ever made in the last 17 years, including a brand new episode out right now of me and my brother Ken, Daddy Issues.
Oof, you don't want to miss that.
This is episode number 15, and it's called Our Father, in parentheses, ugh. Keith and Ken are back to cover the Atlantic article featuring their dad, a lost trove of Civil War gold, an FBI excavation, and some very angry treasure hunters was the title of it. The brothers then discussed the family's aftermath. And oh, there was. All right, let's get right to today's guest. They're fantastic all around. First off, the podcast is Good Time Gal, featured on Colbert. Caitlin Peluffo. Hello, Caitlin.
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for joining us. How you holding up?
I'm holding up pretty good. I haven't put on a bra today, so I'm killing it.
Oh, you're making a statement already. Nice. Also joining us, well, you know her business, affordable interior design. Right?
Me, yeah.
You could say it all together if you want, but affordable interior design by Uploft. So a whole bunch of stuff's going on. Betsy Helmuth, good to see you again, Betsy.
It is great to be back here. Thank you for having me, guys.
And her husband, Jack.
What? That was terrible. That was absolutely awful.
Jack, of course, Jack has the podcast Questionable Material.
Keith is working on being an ally, and he's finding his way. So right now, you kind of swing the pendulum one way. All guys don't matter. Oh, no, wait, hold on 1 second. We could still introduce them proper. Hello, everyone. What a group.
Hello. Well, I am wearing a bra today because I got my COVID weight going.
Well, I'm glad Mr. and Mrs. Betsy Helmuth are here with us, and we're going to do a lot of yapping. I want to talk, of course, a little bit more about the Roe versus Wade overturning. Just so you know,
we're gonna keep it fun and light for Caitlin.
Sure.
She wanted to make sure she's on brand, fun time girl, and I think it's important.
Good time gal. She's in it. She's deep.
I do think it's as simple as knowing that if it was the men that were getting pregnant, Plan B would be in our body wash. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Oh, that would be great.
Right?
Yeah. But if I was a dude, I would also want that kind of control. I would want birth control. I would want to rely on me and guess what? Make my own decisions. Of course. Why is this of course when we're talking about it allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
Well, the news, of course, came out Friday. We did some talking about it then. Now it's Monday. At least 10 states already have effectively banned abortion since the Supreme Court's reversal. Another 5 states are expected to enact their trigger laws, meaning they're ready to go, limiting the procedure in the coming days.
Trigger laws meaning they have guns and they will fucking make you pay for this.
And you know what the states are, right? I mean, guess,
They're the hits.
They're the hits, right? They're the states that have the worst social services out of all 50. Yeah. Coincidentally.
They're also probably, I'm guessing, they're the states that want to secede as well. Like if they had the option, they would separate from us.
Right. So it's the same people, of course, that said about the vaccine. Don't tell me what to do with my body. And now they're going to tell you what to do with your body.
Yeah.
And I wonder if people, it's stupid, but I wonder if people don't understand the gravity of this, that those who don't, because they think it's like, I don't want other people to be killing lives instead of thinking I want control of my own body. I feel like the people pleased with this decision aren't thinking, so now another person is telling you and your family what is best for you and your family. I think you put it that way. How doesn't this disgust somebody?
Sure. And also you throw God into it and you misquote God, which shouldn't you be something for that, misquoting God? Shouldn't that be like you never get to quote the Bible again? In fact, now you have to announce, just like the people who have sex offended, you have to announce that you no longer believe in God because you misquoted him so fucking poorly.
It's also not even a majority of the country wants it. It's like something 75% of the nation is like pro-abortion. Like, yeah, we need this. And the only 25% are just like, I don't know. My don't quote me on my thingies, but I know it's it's pretty weighted. Okay.
And I think, it's not a black and white issue, which of course a lot of people say and a lot of people know, but it's not just about people using it as a form of birth control, even though certainly that could be part of it. But there are much more complicated situations. I myself have had 3 abortions, and I wanted each one of those babies. And one was really complicated and really late and really difficult. And I was advised by my doctor to have an abortion, and I did not want to have an abortion, but sometimes the alternative is pretty tough. Sometimes we can get more into it if you want.
Well, go ahead. It's the health of the baby, I assume.
Well, kind of. But, I realized the other day, guys, I only come on Keith and the Girl to tell really terrible stories that make me cry, because this is actually the worst. The second abortion was the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. So I thought I'd bring it right here.
Let me say, we appreciate that about you. Yeah. Yeah.
She was on the table thinking, I know who I could tell this story to.
Yeah. Yeah. I know where there's a place for me, and it's right here at Keith and the Girl. But yeah,
there's part of it is that we appreciate the Betsy's of the world speaking up. If I can just frame you as that, as, a mother, as like what the US thinks of a woman, like you are the nice next door neighbor, the thoughtful woman, the married, with children, but you have a pet or two, like that kind of, picket fence sort of thing. It is good when you speak about it, because that's not what people are picturing, and they should.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I am the face of abortion, and I wanted a huge family. My husband and I both grew up as only children. When we got married, we were like 5 kids. Little did I know that would manifest in 2 beautiful kids and 3 abortions. That's not the picket fence I had in my mind when I got married, but that was my medical reality. And, the most painful of which I would love to briefly share with you guys, because I think it shows the urgency. The other 2 babies had died in utero. So they were going to come out one way or the other. And if you wait so long and it doesn't come out, it could get infected and things like that. So those were a little bit more cut and dried and definitely less emotional.
And you would have, just for the record, those 2, you would have gotten arrested for that, right? And so
definitely.
Would your doctor?
Yeah. At this point, you can't even take the pills in some of those states. And the first one, I took the abortion pills to expel the tissue, and it didn't work. So I had to find someone who scraped me with no sedative. It was the worst pain of my life, and I've given birth twice. So she literally scraped me on the table. How old was I, honey? I'd already had the 2 kids. I'm very lucky that I already had 2 healthy kids by the time I had 3 abortions. So
you were 38 or 39.
Yeah. So I'm on the table in this lady's office, who it's not even like a legit doctor's office. She was seeing me for kind of something else. And she's like, well, the pills didn't get everything. We can either go and have a DNC, or I can scrape you right here. Now, I didn't know what any of that really meant, because
honestly, just those words. Caitlin, feel free to leave. This is not fun.
What is DNC, by the way? Democratic National Convention.
Well, I forgot what it stands for. But I've had two of those, and they put you out, you go fully under, and then they extract the baby via, I don't know what tools they use.
Shop vac?
I think so. And okay. the first one, the first DNC. So the first one was pills, and then the scraping, which I can still remember.
Which, by the way, and I'm so sorry to keep interrupting you, but the pills, I think people see the morning after or whatever version of pills as like this easy peasy way, like you're taking an Advil and then the next morning, no more headache, or like you sleep it off or whatever. Even those are a trauma to go through. Even this those are
bad. I think you had to shove them up my hoo-ha, or did I?
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So these
pills, that's not how you take them, Betsy.
I know. Then maybe that's why it didn't work that first time. Okay. But they had to be inserted in my, vagina.
A
Jack,
pill?
do you know where that is? Did you insert it into the right hole?
There's no butt babies, but then I guess I screwed that part up.
And then you wait for the cramps to begin. So you basically have to sit in bed with your legs elevated for 2 hours and wait for intense cramping to begin. All of that.
You put a pill up your vagina.
I think a couple. I think there was a series of pills. I think my husband did it. Mm-hmm. Does that ring a bell?
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
Better be you, right?
That'd be a tough one to forget. Yeah.
But that was the easy stuff. The hard one was the second one, because he was 20 weeks. He was kicking in my stomach. My whole family knew him. He had a name. The kids would come over and feel him kicking in my stomach. He was healthy as could be, every scan. So exciting. And then I go in for, what was it, honey? 20 week?
Yeah, the 20 weeks and sort of the final, like, all right, this is the last time we got to scan, make sure there are no abnormalities, no sort of any birth defects, sort of that last one, just sort of like, all right, the very last one, he passed everything else, looking good. And that's the one where we found out.
We found out that he had a disease that's super rare and really difficult. He basically had half a heart. And he was fine, like 100% healthy, because he was using my heart. So everything was great. He's such a healthy boy. He's tracking and all the things. And, if you've had kids before, you're kind of stretched out. So you get bigger a lot faster. So I was really big and really excited, and everything was like green light. And then you get this news that this baby, who, is like all the other babies you had, right, is reaching those milestones, is got something that you can't see, that they can't, he's not suffering, but he would need 3 heart transplants before the age of 10. He would need to live in the hospital for 3 years in a bubble. So he would have no connection to germs and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, so it's, a few little details just to add in. So basically the sort of half a heart type of thing also meant that the oxygenated blood in his body was sort of just going around in circles, instead of like going up to his brain to oxygenate his brain and to let that fully develop.
It's just hard because you kind of try not to think about it. But yeah, so he probably would have had ADHD, which is okay. We can totally deal with that.
No.
They did. There are good cases and worse cases, but the definite.
He would have had more than ADHD. He would have had, they were saying he would have had really severe underdeveloped brain, which would have led to all sorts of issues. So that was incredibly difficult, besides the fact that he would have basically been born, gone straight into open heart surgery, would have had another open heart surgery 6 months later if he had survived that one, if he had survived the birth, if he had survived the first open heart surgery, and then the second open heart surgery about 6 months later, and then there would have been like another one down the line with a wonky, brain, coming out like Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's like that level of sort of deformity, where it's just sort of like, that was the choice, but he was alive.
Well, and there are people who've had this issue who are still alive today, but they've only had these advancements for a few years. So they're like 20. So we don't know. They definitely would have like a heart transplant every 10 years for a while, but we don't know what life looks like. But they can't like kiss a boy on a date, or a girl, or, anyone on a date for fear of germs. They can't work at a job for fear of germs. So they have to work remotely, And it's just hard because I'm sitting there in the chair. This was the hard part. Like, all that's the logistical part. The doctor tells you have to get an abortion. Okay. They tell you the realities. You check it on your own. I listen to podcasts. That's my go-to self-soothing resource, on these topics, whatever. But then we had to try and get an abortion. And that's where it gets dirty, dude. That's where we had to, as people who were told you need an abortion by top level surgeons at Columbia Hospital, nobody would do it for us. We have money, we have health insurance, and nobody would give us an abortion in the right amount of time before it became too late. This was right before Christmas. I had my procedure on December 22nd, but everybody was all booked up. or they didn't do this type of procedure this late in the game. We had to pull out all the stops, and I wound up in this dirty, gross White Plains clinic. I walk in and like, it is nasty. And at this point, I've been to tons of doctors, right? It is nasty. It is not, I don't feel safe. There are obviously people there on drugs and with a diverse range of problems. And, you know, I'm glad they have somewhere to go, and I'm glad I had somewhere to go. But I go into the office with this doctor who's very late, like, you know, running behind, that's fine. He had like, I don't know if we want to get into it, but I didn't feel safe. He had lesions on his face. He was like, so when are we going to get you in? You know, we don't take insurance. You're going to have to pay out of pocket. Like, it was shady. And I was being told by my physician that I had to get this done.
I mean, he literally talked about like some sort of like rule or procedure they have to follow, but basically sort of winked at us. Right. It was like, we don't follow every rule. I'm like, whoa. Like, I mean, like, when she's talking about lesion, like open sore, I mean, he was just like, it's like the doctor who performed surgery on the Joker, but like not as clean. I mean, it was like level.
Wasn't this legal at the time, or what is the...
That's what's complicated. Is it was definitely legal, but if, you know, it was at a time when there were holidays, if we wait too long, it becomes illegal. And so, because he was 20 weeks when we found out, so
it was about 22 and a half when
we were able to do it, but at 24, it's illegal. So we had to, like, a lot of people don't do the procedure. The hospital who told me to get this procedure had nobody to recommend me to get this procedure. And so we had to look on our own. The only people that we could find that would do the procedure in the amount of time we needed was this shady guy who just, you know, pay me in cash, you know, leave it in an envelope at the front desk. So I'm like, I can't remember if I started crying when he was there.
You did. And we walked out.
Yeah, we walked out.
We're just like, thanks. And we just left.
Right.
Like, after a few winks and like, you know, we're going to call it this, but you're actually getting this, and you'll just come in and you'll do this. And then you'll just, I mean.
Oh my God, our drug dealer gives us less winks.
Right.
Like the illegal guy that shakes your hand as a, we got this, is less winky.
And, you know, everybody in that waiting room was desperate like me, but desperate in a different way. I had options to leave, right? I could take off the whole week and just make every call. I could drive to anywhere to get this done. And those other people in the waiting room didn't have options, right? Maybe didn't have the cash to just put an envelope, you know, in the window at the front desk. Right. So luckily I kept calling, and Jack called, and we found somebody who would do it. Like, if we could come in on this one day at this one time. And of course I was going to move mountains. Who else can move mountains? What if you have a shift you're working at a restaurant? What if you don't have out of pocket money? Luckily, this place.
And what's funny is people do see it as a shift. They see it as like, just take the morning off, as if like that's what abortion is. Like,
and you know, with this type of abortion, not to get like real, but it's basically you're having a child. So I was lactating for weeks afterwards. You know, and I wanted this baby. I'm sitting there with my husband in the room right before, and he's kicking. I'm singing to him like I always did.
It was the worst.
And then we have to make a choice, because I didn't have to say yes, right, guys? I could have said, you know what, I'm gonna have this baby, and we're gonna do what it takes, and we're gonna put our family through all that, and one of us is gonna live at that hospital for 3 years and do shifts with our other kids. And we're going to spend those hundreds of thousands of dollars to make this happen, because technically, I guess we could have, right?
How much was that?
Well, all the heart transplants and all that. How much was our abortion?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a lot too. We were fully covered by insurance, and how many tens of thousands?
That was a $40,000-$50,000 procedure because I mean, it was an operation. I mean, like, like, I don't know what people think it is, sort of that like, hey, walk in and walk out, you know, 2 hours later thing. I mean, it was, I mean, they basically forced her into labor. They gave her enough drugs and whatever, and sort of had to birth the baby.
Speaking of pills up your hoo-ha, you have to go in like 3 times ahead, and they put like these expander pills in you. They have to stay inside you, and they expand you so that the baby, who's a really big size at this point, will be able to come out without a C-section. So that was tough, because you have to go in 3 times or whatever. It's not an easy thing. It's not a thing that people take lightly. It's not a thing I would elect to do on just
I mean, if you think about it, people who have penises, if the doctor even asks to look at it or touch it, you're already embarrassed. You're already going through some trauma. Our regular visits are horrible. And this is just, you will not have to go through this. You know that. Why are you making decisions on this?
And again, yeah, thank God you had some money, and it's because you work with affordable interior design by Uploft. But yeah,
we're
of course,
in the middle of a rebrand, guys. Just bear with me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's so many reasons that, of course, a woman would I almost don't even want to say need an abortion. Whether it's rape, incest, birth defects. Politicians now saying 13-year-olds can consent to sex. I mean, what am I watching? How about just not being ready for a baby? By the way. And then you see all this misinformation out there saying if you get an abortion, then it's going to be hard to get pregnant after. So take what you can get when you can get it. Kyle had an abortion before her 3 kids. These kids came out like a bobsled team, no problems. So people need to know what's bullshit and what's not.
Well, and that's what really, like, hearing about this, hearing the abortion debate, since having gone through this, it becomes so clear that missing category of people, because basically there are the 2 categories in the debate, right? Where it's you just use it as a form of birth control. It's just for people who are
like women are whistling on their way to get an abortion. No one's happy. No one's happy.
Right. But it's either that or cases of rape and incest and whatever. And there's this missing element of incredibly medically necessary procedures that have to happen. I mean, this baby would have been born to a life, just a garbage life of suffering, of brain defects, of nothing but heart surgeries, where he probably would have died. We would
and
have
they're
just
making it
the
seem like this is a moral issue of like, you both have to make sure that we know that this, yes, there's like this tiny other decision, but that this is the decision not made by monsters. You're still good human beings. You're still doing the right thing. The intention is still to have a healthy family and not to just, shoo our responsibilities away. And I feel like that's all it's looking like to a lot of people. Like, oh, you just don't want to.
Well, and I'm piggybacking on that healthy family situation. We would have had to be away from our other 2 kids for 3 years. One of us, they told us, would have to live in the hospital and we could take shifts. What does that do to my other 2 children? How does that promote a healthy family when we finally bring this baby home at 3 years old and none of us can go to soccer games because it brings too many germs in the house? None of us can work other than remotely. And who's going to pay for my kids' 3 heart transplants before the age of 10? Do you think the government's going to pay? Can you imagine how that would, bankrupt a family real quick?
60% of Americans can't come up with $1,000 cash. 60%. Like if you needed to right now, there's an emergency, you need $1,000. 60% of Americans couldn't come up with $1,000 cash from their savings. Think about what just a flat tire or just a normal trip to the emergency room as a kid, breaks his arm or whatever. That's that changes your family dynamic forever. That's the level of where people are in America. And then you think about this, and I mean, you're dooming families if you don't have this option, and no one talks about it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
it's a really big gray area. I think this gray area is a lot larger than we know, and that's why I felt it was important. I didn't want to share my journey when it happened back in 2018. I didn't want to share it on Facebook, but I was like, who else is hiding? Who else is alone? Who else thinks abortion's a really dirty word? Like, they need to see me.
She never shared it. It was too painful. I mean, we still can't talk about it without crying. And we'd want.
Well, she didn't even want to talk about that millionaire asshole. I mean, this is a big deal.
There's the
Marcus Lemonis, right?
He's missing half a heart. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. But they could live, but look what happens.
Look what happened.
You don't want it.
Anyway.
Yeah, but to be clear, again, this is when everything was even legal.
Yeah. Do you think maybe I hate to put it on other citizens, but the doctors and scientists, can the doctor say like this this is a medical procedure and somehow help take the stigma off of it. Like, can they name it something different? Can we name it something different? And then now abortions are illegal, but this other thing that has like a slight changes in it is not. I think I'm pulling at anything right now because I can't believe how desperate they made everybody feel in a drop of a fucking hat. I cannot believe that we're just stuck here.
What doctor wants to say something now? Doctors could face life in prison, no exaggeration. Fines up to $100,000 for performing an abortion, no exaggeration. What doctor is in a hurry to talk so fast?
Of course, that affects their families. Yeah. It's just, how did we get here again? How did this stigma continue so fucking hard that this would happen?
I know somebody that when the news came out, they said, this is somebody I know. And they said, well, I'll donate more to Catholic charities. And it's like, motherfucker, you're not donating. Why are you acting like you're donating to Catholic charities? I happen to know you and your situation. That is not happening. You just made that up. You lied to me and you lied to yourself. You're not doing it and you're not going to do it because, quite frankly, you can't do it.
Donate to them for what?
Yes, this is good news because I'm religious, but I'll just donate to Catholic charities. As if you really don't know, you know all these liars. I'm going to adopt these kids. Well, do it. You're not doing it. Mm-hmm. You're not doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I got pregnant, I was, the guy was like, oh, I'll raise it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't want to raise it. And you're full of shit. You're not even coming with me to the abortion, but you're going to raise it. I can't even rely on you for the finances of this. I paid out of pocket, you bitch. Yes, in theory, you're the best. You're the fucking best. But you know who got me pregnant? You. Right. So you're not the best at a lot of things. Or at least that one.
I had I was with a woman. We had sex once with a condom on. No mistakes with the condom, no slips. I didn't keep it in too long. Got pregnant from that.
Really?
Yeah. Happened to get pregnant. What percent is that? Yeah. So now you're my wife now, and we're having like nobody is enjoying sex. You're my wife now, and I have a kid now. Get the fuck out.
Not even that's for life. A wife is not for life. You can divorce that. That's right, really? That person is with.
Tell me more about this.
Yeah, my second abortion was almost right away. Why? Because my doctor didn't warn me that now that I'm using birth control. At the time there wasn't doing your own research. It was what your doctor said. And what research am I going to do? My doctor said I got pregnant because he didn't warn me that I'm way more likely to get pregnant in the next month or so. And I'm like, that would have been good information since I thought I was protected. And now I'm paying you again to do this.
Right. You got to pay on top of again for the follow-up, right?
Yeah, if it was illegal, I would drop it on your goddamn front door because you made me pregnant.
Right.
Mm-hmm. How could you leave that information out? How are you stupid?
Did you guys hear a representative? That means a lawmaker from Illinois, Mary Miller. This is at a Trump rally. You know, there's the new hoodless KKK meetings. This is she made a little Freudian slip.
President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
Just one more time.
President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
Oops. I mean, that's wonderful, but it is also affecting the whites. It's unbelievable that they're poking at themselves now too without realizing it.
Right.
I mean, oh God, I don't even.
And no one has paid more money to Planned Parenthood than Donald Trump. I mean, he must have had like a slush fund.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
I mean, for real. Like how many, like what's the over under? Give me an over under on Donald Trump abortions that he's paid for.
I promise a dozen. Easily.
Dozen.
Yeah.
Okay, dozen. All right. I'll take the over on that.
Like if I had to, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
He thinks you could just slip a finger in a woman because you just have that right. So what else is he slipping?
Is that over under on porn stars he's gotten pregnant or just regular women?
Or Miss America candidates. I'm feeling there's a whole pool.
I was watching you changing in the dressing rooms. Really, really fine stuff.
And then, of course, like we said on Friday, Clarence Thomas, the Supreme Court Justice, says, hey, let's look into now gay marriage. Let's look into how these things go together. I know how they go together, but how the fuck do they go together? But you know what I'm saying. Let's also look at access to birth control. Meaning, of course, less. Let's make less access. So now we can look at gay marriage again. It's not crazy to think you can look at interracial marriage again. This is wild, and I think people don't understand how dastardly it is. I don't think people understand. Like, even if you're as simple as just sticking with rape or incest, you don't understand. There's going to be 18 states in no time where it won't matter if you were raped. You'd have to keep that baby. A doctor will go to prison if you do. What the fuck? So yeah, of course it can go to gay marriage. He's like, when one of the purple on the Supreme Court said, "I want to look into gay marriage now." He said it. Mm-hmm. He's telling you. By the way, watch that. There's a HBO movie called Confirmation about Clarence Thomas. If you haven't seen it, you know these HBO Showtime movies. They're always so good. But this is. You got these, like I said the other day, you got these, the rapists making laws against the rape victims, if you ask me.
Yeah, and then his wife is trying to overturn had an active part in January 6th.
Right.
And then he still gets to sit on the Supreme Court and make rules. It's like,
right.
Oh, buddy.
She's so shady.
He says we should look into outlawing consensual gay sex and the right to same-sex marriage. That's a right, by the way, you were given. You shouldn't have, but you were given that right.
How could this still be your problem? How could this still be on your list? Oh, because he's trying to take away from January 6th. Because
is that it?
Because his wife's in it.
I'm reading that conservatives heard we said, hey, we're banning Jules, and they said, finally banning Jews. Finally. It's like, no, Jules. Oh my God. On Twitter, I see this person, Ela, E-L-A, Darling, writes, so glad to live in a nation with gun care and health control.
That's great.
That's a good one.
Kyle Rittenhouse, the teenager, that shot 2 people in Wisconsin in 2020 during the riots, came out with a video game, by the way. And it's a shooting game.
Surprise, surprise.
And
you shoot at uteruses.
You shoot at fake news turkeys.
Oh,
is that true?
No.
Yes. Kyle Rittenhouse Turkey Shoot.
Wow.
Will use its proceeds to, quote, sue the left-wing media organizations for defamation, saying he was a bad kid. Rittenhouse created Turkey Shoot in partnership with Mint Studios, M-I-N-T. According to the studio's account, they only have this one game. It's a global gaming studio, Mint Studios, and it's teaming up with the top influencers in the public arena to create revolutionary games for everyone to enjoy. In the point-and-shoot video game, users play as what is presumed to be an avatar of Rittenhouse, who shoots animated turkeys labeled fake news and MSDNC. Obviously a reference to MSNBC, the more left-wing channel.
Are we still called the United States of America?
Wow.
The media is nothing but this is a quote. The media is from Kyle. The media is nothing but a bunch of turkeys with nothing better to do than push their lying agenda and destroy innocent people's lives.
Oh my God. He literally shot at people.
Yeah.
He's trying to do what?
Like even if you were a superhero and things got out of control because you're a nervous fucking Nelly, at least shut the fuck up. Don't be parading around. Like you're no matter what, if you thought you were in the right and you got nervous, you're still not like, shit, I killed 2 people.
Why? This is perfect on his side. He is now a leader for his side. He's now collecting money to make them better and stronger.
What's the least amount of heart you can be born with? Do you guys know?
I think we do.
I think we do. I think we have some imaging we could share with you. Yeah.
I have a friend. I don't want to give away his story because it's a pending legal matter. But I have a friend who is a producer on one of the big late night comedy shows.
Okay.
And if you piece together the story I'm going to tell you, you can figure out what the story was. Got in trouble for a political themed stunt, and they were arrested. This was in the news. You could Google it and figure out what it is. But I don't want to tell his name because it is a pending legal matter. He can't even speak about it. But what he did tell me was because Fox News read the name of the 7 people who were arrested. They just listed, the producers of the staff of the blank show. Here are their names. Some dude on Fox News read their names. He has gotten a ceaseless amount of death threats, of just like, not just saying like, hey, you're a libtard or whatever, like all those, super good zingers, but like legitimately, like, I'm going to find you and I'm going to fucking kill you and your baby and, and your, dumb, ugly wife and what, and like, you're all going to die, you unpatriotic like, just by having his name read for just being a dude holding a camera at a political comedy stunt. He's getting death threats ceaselessly.
Plus saying dumb, ugly wife. I mean, if you found her attractive, would it be different? Could we, hone in. Keep on focus at least. Fuck, man.
Yeah. But that's what we're skipping to. It's that stuff is scary, man.
So I forget what state it was. I don't know if you know that started this thing in December. There was a case that brought it up in the Supreme Court. That's how this thing started. How does the abortion ban?
Oh.
Does another case need to come up? How do you reverse the reversal? What happens?
You have to, wait till the Supreme Court is a little more even, and then you bring it up again within a different case.
How long is that going to take?
Well,
It's
I
gonna
looked
take
at
at least 4 years.
It'll take a lifetime.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I looked up everybody on the Supreme Court to be like, who's going to die? Come on, somebody's got to be close.
Right.
And then I'm like, maybe this one person, but I bet they're getting taken care of. I bet their health care is on point. And I can't believe we have to wait for someone to die. What?
Yeah.
What kind of
Should be a
job is
limit.
this? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're over the age of 70, you should not be making these rules.
Can you even pass any test?
Yeah. If you can't drive at night, you shouldn't be making rules on the Supreme Court.
Who keeps their job forever? Only parents. And even they have a legal right to be like, fuck off, you're 18. Legally, at least legally, you could lose their job once they turn a certain age. You can't lose your job here?
Who's the female Supreme Court justice that died recently? Ruth
Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Thank you. I see. I don't think it's bothering her right now, but she's being attacked for when she knew her health was going. Get the fuck out. That we have a Democratic president at the time. Let somebody younger fill in. Is that fair?
No.
No.
I mean, if he wasn't able to get, someone did die, and he had the Obama had the opportunity to replace him, and he couldn't get it past the Senate. No one could get approved, so it was just going to roll over into the Republicans anyway. So there's
But she didn't know that at the time, and this was even before, the Merrick Garland case.
You're also asking somebody to step down, hoping that the next right thing would happen to your benefit. I mean, that's an interesting way for us to approach it about someone else's work.
Right.
Doesn't it feel a little shady? I mean, like, I don't know. Then it's so politicized, where don't we want, with a hopefully what would be a principled person like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you don't want it just to be political appointments. You want, I don't know. That's a tricky one. It feels a little creepy to me.
Sure.
And it's also just you're basically asking her to be clairvoyant, and that's not fair. And you're also erasing all the good that she's done. you're negating all the work that she did put in. So, and she
And
also
that she
never
could still
retired.
put in. Yeah.
Yeah,
still
she
could
never
put in that.
retired. She stuck it out through Trump, even though her health was almost gone. And she could have left, but she was like, no, I'm just gonna hope for the best. Hopefully I don't die. And then she died. But
You also know you're one of the good ones, so this is your job, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
this
here's
is going to be decades, by the way, decades of like the 6-3 majority. I mean, like, what are you hoping for, to whittle it down to 5-4 and hope that Roberts is a more reasonable swing vote? I mean, like, it's going to take decades. The Republicans are going to win in 2024, probably. Like, when is this reasonably going to change? It's going to be up to the states. If this is a states issue now, this has to be fought on the state level, in the near term.
Will there be a civil war?
Isn't this our new civil war?
Yeah, but one with more guns, believe it or not.
Right. More guns. Yeah. Okay. I
It
don't
won't
know.
be started by the liberals because we don't have any guns.
Yeah.
We got nothing. What do
We
got?
shouldn't encourage it, right?
2
We got
years
the
of
museums.
Groupon karate classes. That's all we got.
Don't knock a Groupon.
We're going to take our participation trophies and just knock the shit out of you guys.
Yeah.
Well, this is some timing. Let me mention this. BetterHelp. Life overwhelming for you, or you fucking blind and deaf? Many people are burnt out but don't even know it. Symptoms include lack of motivation, irritability, fatigue, more, crying constantly. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions. Both Hemd and myself use this service. Chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. Much more affordable than in-person therapy, which I find amazing. I think it'd be the opposite. Get a therapist under 48 hours, even faster than that, but they just want to play it safe. But yeah, it kind of goes with Betsy's story a little bit, where all this red tape. Kemda was in a bad, had her tumor, finds out the shady shit's going on in her marriage, and is trying to reach therapy and can't. And again, that wasn't lack of money necessarily to find a therapist. Just
I had insurance.
hard to do. And had insurance.
BetterHelp is going to do great with this new overturn of Roe v. Wade, because
Right.
everybody's going to need to process what's going on. If I had to keep a baby that needed that much support, my whole family would be crumbling. We'd all be, lifeline to BetterHelp, because, it's difficult. And I will say that therapy got me through that darkest time. Thank goodness I had someone I could really lean on regularly. But if you have a baby that you can't support, or you have a baby who needs round the clock care, you're going to need some care yourself.
Listeners get 10% off your first month. Sorry, what's that, Jack?
I said, and edibles. Go back to the promo.
Listeners get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/KATG. That's betterhelp.com/KATG.
And of course, what he meant by edibles is to eat right and as healthy as possible. And your BetterHelp therapist can help you with that.
Thank you. I appreciate you explaining that. Thank you.
I mean, edibles and exercise, they say.
Yes, of course.
Here's a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, no, the greens. Just letting everybody know what color edibles are that are healthy. We can move on.
What was that, Jack?
Well, here's a question that sort of ties in the abortion stuff we were talking about, plus sort of that, the violence and the guns thing. Don't you guys? First of all, we're so overdue for a presidential assassination attempt. It's the last one was March 30th.
These thoughts are only by Jack Helmuth. These are alleged situations, a thought process that we're following and kind of listening, but not co-signing. Please continue, Jack.
Let's go back to these edibles.
It's PCP, and you take it and you get these crazy ideas like I'm having now. No, we're overdue for some sort of violent act. Thank goodness it hasn't happened. The last one was like on March 31st of 81. It used to be about once every 20 years. There was some sort of attempt. Thank goodness that hasn't happened in a long time. But in this violent society that we're fomenting here, where people, it could be on both sides. People going to Kavanaugh's, house with, explosives and all that stuff. What would happen? Here's what I'm posing to the group. What would happen if a Supreme Court justice was, sadly, tragically, even if it was on the other side, killed?
Okay, before we continue this fantastic thought process, just a quick pause that I don't think we're overdue. I think January 6th ticked that box, in case you're wondering. Maybe they were 10 years late, but it was an attempted assassination of Mike Pence. Maybe that's not the president, but it is the vice president. And it mattered a lot. And they were very, very specific about that being one of the missions. So no worries, Jack. We are still this country. And if you are looking for gun violence every day, pretty much multiple times a day, a lot of times, we have mass shootings in the country. I can Google some other shit for you if that makes you happy.
How about you just let Jack finish? Because Betsy's shitting herself.
Oh, God. Better help. 1-800. Yeah, I have to live with this guy. You know that warning that him to just put out. I need that to follow me around.
Here's what I'm posing. The question is, if it was a member of the party who was not in power presidentially. So let's say if Kavanaugh was killed as that person had allegedly intended, would Biden be able to choose anyone of his choosing, or would there be some sort of responsibility to be like, since this wasn't a natural act, it should be a conservative replacing conservative, because otherwise it would be such incentive to go out and just kill people, to go and have these assassination attempts. What would happen in a situation like that? It's so murky. I don't know. Maybe that's too weird and dark a thought, but this is
how it works out when good people think of murder. It's right. Worked out. It's like, is this worth it? That's not what's happening with these guns, Jack. I hate to tell you. When good people allegedly plan and somebody else would do this, not me, because I could never. That's the whole thing. It's that someone else who could do it, not never. They're already dysfunctioned in that they think that murder will create an option for them. And that's not the case. I think that's why we're trying to regulate guns, is so that when people start thinking along those lines, they could know they're wrong, or at least not have the gun to prove it.
Right. Well, it was more of a political what if, in terms of you want to disincentivize people from doing a horrible act like that. And I just wonder if someone were to ever do that. It's never been, I don't know. It was a thought I've had.
Like, what replaces it? What's the law?
Yeah, what would that be? Otherwise, otherwise people would be like, well, we got to save babies, so we need to kill these liberal whatever. Oh no, we got to protect. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm so scared with the way society is that this is just a fear that I've had. Keith asked about are we going to have a civil war? And so this is just sort of another sort of similar, what would happen type of thing. I should just stick to telling fart jokes. I'm sorry.
I get what you're saying, because we're all thinking what happens, right? What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And it's not the stuff that how we would react. So we're trying to be ready for everybody else's reactions. And I think that is very, very unnerving and creates this anxiety, because I have to mind my mind right now. I have to be very aware that these thoughts and these new rules and these laws that feel like shackles, that feel like, oh my God, you have to consider all these other things and you don't have options and your rights are being taken away. I have to keep my mind straight so that it doesn't go into all this stuff, where there's nothing I can do, or I'm focusing on the thing that's not going to help, or just kind of taking in, what can I do? What is my responsibility? And how do I not lose my mind on the way to trying to figure that out, and let alone do it? I mean, we're all trying to just stay sane now. This is an explosion.
Another ad for BetterHelp.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You guys know about Athletic Greens?
I use them thanks to Keith Malley. I seriously ordered a subscription. It comes every month. I have yet to actually drink them, but I'm being charged, and I did use the KATG promo code.
That's perfect. You know what? Since we're talking, I might as well tell you about it. Athletic Greens. I start my day every day with it. That's the truth. 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods sourced superfoods, probiotics. I gobble it down. Tastes very good for it being a green drink. And done. My day is started. I got my energy, etc., etc. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/KATG. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/KATG. This is what you meant by edibles. And take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I see a story here. It's about a 32-year-old man and a 24-year-old woman. One of them is the kidnapper and rapist. The other is the victim. Which one do you think is which?
Well, I don't like your attitude, so okay. I feel like there's context clues in your tone.
Yeah, there is. It's the guy.
Yeah.
Duh.
And we wouldn't be talking about it if it was the other way around. It wouldn't even make the news. So let's just be clear on that.
A young
That's how
no,
I-
I'm saying it's the
No,
guy
no, no.
that's the rapist.
He's saying
Oh,
what's
oh.
the obvious choice. Yeah.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
A young woman held hostage and raped at her home in the Bronx is now safe thanks to her wherewithal to order food on a delivery app. They were ordering food 5 a.m. on a Sunday, and she wrote in the instructions, and it was kind of tough to read the way, because she's stressed out trying to sneak in this message. Please call the police. His going to call me. When you delivered, come with the cones, meaning cops. Please don't make it obvious. And
Oh, fuck.
but here's the thing.
Insane.
Guys are so lazier than women. He couldn't even order his own food. He's like, I'm trying to find the best deal. I click on here. It says I can save $5. Then it says it's not available in my area, but that means I can't even pay full price all of a sudden. Yeah, you order it. You order it. And the woman's like, okay, please bring over the cops. And then luckily the cops came. Let's see.
They
I
never
would
read
never
the
fly on
comment
Uber Eats.
section. When I fill out the comment section, I want extra plum sauce, remove the
Right.
tomatoes. They never pay attention. They never read it. Thankfully, they read it when it was important.
Yes.
I really want to interview the person who has to read comments and like how, it's good that the first sentence came in, call the cops, because like at that point, the rest of the sentences don't matter. But how do you decode that? How
And then when they bring
what
the
are your
food
thoughts?
over with the cops, like, did somebody end up eating it, or was it really not made with care?
Made with yeah. Do you get tipped still?
Right?
Yeah. Do
It's
you
like, she
get
kind of owes
the
us still
cops
though
and no
for the food.
tacos?
What is the don't make it obvious version of that?
What if they just sent ice cream cones instead? Like, thank God they figured it out. The cones.
Open the door. This is melting. Open the door.
Yeah. They met the person. The woman met the person months after first meeting online, and then it turned violent. He wouldn't let her have the phone except to order food.
Oh my God.
Nobody wants to deal with those apps. It's hard to decide what to eat. No.
Just picturing him having like side comments that she's filling in like, okay, no onions, call the cops. Those are the same movements. Like he's just like, oh yeah. Tell them no mayo. Okay, sir. Yes.
So good for her. Yeah, they obviously he's arrested. Let's see, slew of charges including rape, unlawful imprisonment, strangulation, criminal sex act, and sexual abuse. But the baby shouldn't turn the family upside down. That should be pleasant and not a fucking mess.
Well,
Once he
you
gets
don't
out,
want
he's gonna
that.
run for office.
Right. The dad should run. Right. The dad. The dad should run for
Right.
office.
I think that's what cancellation means. When they're like, am I getting canceled? People should start like putting a little more into like, am I getting canceled?
Right.
Well, thank God the cops sort of behaved themselves in that. Otherwise, we'd have a defund Grubhub movement.
Right.
There's the fart joke.
Hey, let me mention this. Speaking of January 6th.
Baby.
You're back. My girlfriend Kyle has a podcast called Shut Up Mommy's Talking. And recently she talked to her co-host Karen's husband, who's a lawyer. And they were talking about the January 6th hearings. And it's more in a factual way, as opposed to emotional way, which, I don't know how I'd be able to do it, but I guess that's his skill as a lawyer. 30 years ago, he became a lawyer because of Giuliani. He admired him and then just slowly, watched Giuliani, turn evil, if you ask me. And the whole process of exactly what he saw, you'll see in this podcast, in that specific episode. I think the one next to last that's up right now. But take a look. I think you'll enjoy it. The podcast is called Shut Up Mommy's Talking. All right.
Seth Meyers, in a closer look recently, called Giuliani a potato-headed goblin, which I thought that was a really funny descriptor.
Okay. Okay.
I bet he's suing him now. I am not. Tomato at best. Forget about it.
Betsy's company is Affordable Interior Design by Uploft.
Podcast of the same name.
Podcast of the same name, Affordable Interior Design by Uploft. Why does the by Uploft come in there?
Well, because I had affordable interior design for nearly 2 decades,
Right.
but it wasn't trademarkable. So people are popping up all over affordable interior design Westchester, affordable interior design Miami, and I can't protect myself in terms of my reputation. And they're also not me. So I had to apply for a trademark and find a name that was, so now I have to kind of, because I built this business for 17 years with this one name, now I have to kind of sneak in the other name and reverse engineer it. So soon you'll only know Uploft. And, affordable interior design will just be the podcast. But we're working on that transition.
It's how we pay for
You're
our
here
abortions,
early.
folks.
I have the book. I have the book.
Oh, you do, Keith?
And I know to put things at eye level, not high like we were taught as kids. That things were high when we were kids because we kept knocking shit over. That doesn't mean things belong there.
Also, eye level to a kid is about crotch level. So.
Well, there is, people don't know this, but interior design is 50% math. So it's really not about your eye level. It's 60 inches from the floor to the center of the piece. That's museum height. It's all math. All math.
Yes. But don't say it like that. Math sounds tough. The podcast of Jax is Questionable Material. And he does his little skits and bits. You know how you do it.
Skits and bits. Improv. Nothing but comedy. No agenda except to make people laugh.
He comes on here for the tears.
Right. Caitlin Peluffo, we're going to have to talk to you again soon. You know that.
I'd love
get to know more about you. But in the meantime, follow the podcast Good Time Gal.
That's
and,
me. It's
check her
about
out
drunk
online.
stories. So if you're a drunk idiot, listen to that podcast.
Nice.
Ooh, could you
We'll listen
used to
tonight.
have been a drunk idiot?
Yes, absolutely. The
Okay.
sober people are always the best because they're like, this is why I don't drink anymore. And
And they have a
thank
clear
you for the
story.
refresher. Yeah, exactly. It's wild. The one with Emma Willman is bizarre. It's so great.
Now, where are you on the drunk version of yourself right now?
I'm right in the
Drinking,
middle.
not drink. Yeah.
I'm right in the middle. Yeah, I'm not sober, but I'm not the hellraiser I used to be. She's getting a handle on it. So I'd say
What
I'm
was
at
the
a 5.
the gist of your last hurrah where it's like, this is going to make my podcast, this story.
Well, I mean, I just got drunk on Friday. Thank you so much. I went to a wedding in Staten Island and
Sorry.
just got started on the ferry, had a nice time, and fell asleep in the Uber home. I did not do ketamine, which was offered to me. So I'd say
Well, you're in
we're
Staten
growing.
Island.
I know. When in
what's
Rome,
fun?
do as the Romans.
Right. Staten Island knows that it needs to put booze on the ferry on the way. It knows that. So yeah. All right. So Friday was your last one. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I am subscribed. Very nice.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for your personal story. I mean that. I think that shows how disgusting the world's getting, or just weirdness. Because as it was alluded to, Betsy, I think it's safe to say you were a shy person, or at least you kept things more to yourself, and you're coming more into your own. If I'm not being too dramatic, as years are going by, is that safe to say?
I don't know about that. I'm realizing how important it is to tell my story in the most uncomfortable parts. That's what I think I'm realizing. I was always pretty much myself and always pretty much putting it out there. But also, as you get older, life gets more complicated. You have more experiences, and you realize that your lowest lows can help people feel not so alone, or can maybe even make change. I don't know if this will change one person's opinion of what they've been thinking, but I hope it does.
I think the we didn't share that the abortion part of it, but we shared on Facebook. Finally, we sort of debated that we had lost the baby. Enough people knew we were pregnant, so we sort of had to tell people. So we didn't tell the abortion part, but we told that we lost a baby at about 23 weeks on Facebook. And we got so many messages from people who had gone through similar things. And it was like just getting a warm electronic hug every single time you opened one of those messages. It was just so powerful to feel like you weren't alone. And that's, is the power of Betsy sort of sharing her stories where, to let other people know that it's okay to talk about it. And there's a lot of comfort in the community that people have gone through similar things, a lot more than you would think.
Well, and also I think a lot of people have gone through this thing,
yes,
right? Where they had to get an abortion, where they had to sneak around, even in a state where it's so legal. Like I had to sneak around. I had to like pass money in an envelope. Luckily, it didn't come to that, but that's where we found ourselves. So even if you're in a state where it's fully legal, where you have all these rights, where you have insurance, it doesn't mean it's easy, and it doesn't mean it's fair, and it certainly doesn't mean it's pretty.
Right. And again, nobody's going to an abortion with a smile on their face.
Right.
Let's be very clear. And you know what? When you say, hey, it's a gray area that people don't understand, to me, it is still black and white. I'm going to tell you about your body. Can you fucking imagine? Mm-hmm. Can you fucking imagine?
Yeah. I mean, Caitlin's show is not about your drunkenness. Everyone tells their own story.
Right.
They put that in their body. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to be Sean Patton, but he lets me know. It's very lovely.
Right. At keithandthegirl.com/forum, somebody started a thread about just what's bothering them in their lives. And I really like this thread a lot because what's happening, and I'm glad this is happening, people are just saying, hey, let me throw out this thing is stressing about me, but nobody feels that they have to fix it. But they just at least I do. I like knowing some people are having problems too. Mm-hmm. And I relate to them different than they relate to their own problems. But I'm like, good. Let's just be open and honest. And sometimes it's not so easy. So that's why I enjoyed you willing to share your story so much.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it feels great to be transparent. It's difficult to bring that memory back up. Do not want to think about that time. But if his life can mean something to somebody else, it sure meant a lot to me. So
yeah. How are you going to have others determine what's best for you and your family? Look at it like that. And I think
thank you, Betsy.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Stay strong. That's it.
Oh boy, you guys. Thank you so much. How are you doing? How's everybody? Betsy,
are you all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it feels good.
This is the first time you're sharing the whole story publicly?
Ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We put a thing on Facebook because I just knew other people were going through stuff, but I didn't want to get into the politics of it. So I didn't put on there that we made the choice. Yeah. Because I am from Missouri. So most of my,
which happens to be the first state, by the way, that pulled the trigger on these laws. Yeah.
I mean, they're called Missouri.
It's, and so my friends and my family members have really different views. And I just didn't want it to become about that because I was in so much pain. So I didn't say we made the choice, but I am happy to say it.
But we also didn't want to be judged by the people we just didn't want to be judged for it.
Yeah, I was too vulnerable at that time. I couldn't take any negative feedback, but so many people knew I was pregnant. I was big. I was walking around big with a baby in my stomach at the bus stop, at the whatever, at the Stop and Shop. Like, I didn't want to have to tell everybody individually. So I'm like, let me put this out there in a way where nobody's going to hurt me as I'm lactating on the couch every night for nothing, So I had to do it my way, but I'm really glad that you guys gave us the opportunity to do it in the real way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is thank you for the last minute email. And that was very kind.
Because I heard your episode, that was kind of a special episode, on that abortion that happened on Friday. And I was like, you know what, maybe this is a thing.
That's what motivated her.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you so much. Really. It's really like to spend the time and go through it and put it here with us. We really appreciate that you trust us with that. that you can.
Oh, guys,
feel
I
okay.
trust you. I hang out with you every night. So, boy, do I trust you. Yeah. I cook with you every night. In fact, my kid he's homesick today from camp and he's like, can I listen? Is that where they use the bad words? Can I listen? I'm like, go downstairs. But yeah, they listen while I make dinner. I'm like, you can handle it. You can handle these bad words. But he didn't need to hear his brother's story. So,
Sure,
Mommy, what's a
sure.
cocksucker?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you've
it's in the
inspired some
word.
conversations.
Somehow a cocksucker's a different form of abortion, and that's okay. Anyway, go to bed.
that's a form of birth control, really more.
Right.
KeithAndTheGirl.com.